Welcome in to the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview, proudly presented by Arkansas Tech University, D3 Auto Sales, and by Metcalf Trucking Company. Today we sit down with Little Rock Episcopal Collegiate head coach Cod Fortner.
I am here with Cody Fortner, head coach here for the Episcopal football program. Coach, you guys obviously have a beautiful campus here, beautiful facility. This is kind of a new transition for you, first year on the job.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about how you guys are using these facilities and just how your guys embrace this campus and this community.
So I'll start by saying that's one of the things that really attracted me in this place. I spent 7 years in Southwest Arkansas coaching football, and from the time I set foot on this campus, just the way that this community embraces one another, as supportive as anywhere I've ever been. As far as anything we need, there's always somebody there willing to do it. And our kids, they really do. They work hard. They know they're supported, and that's academically and athletically. Their teachers go above and beyond to make sure they're taken care of in the classroom. And I think we've got a set of first-class coaches here and in all sports that really do care about our student athletes. So it's really, to me, one of the nicest places in Arkansas as far as just the community, the experience, just the whole atmosphere is just, to me, it was a really attractive place to be. So now going into my 4th year, I absolutely love it. This is a place that I call home, and it has a special place in my heart. I really do. I enjoy it here. Great community, great people. Just a great place to be.
So, first year's head coach, what was the first thing that came to your mind when you got this job? What was the first thing that you said, this is what we have to get done in my first year?
First year here, huge focus on just getting everybody out, like recruiting our own hallways. Like if you've ever even had the inclination to want to try football, we want you to come out and be a part of this. And I think that's really what we've tried to sell to our younger athletes, 7 through 9, is that come have an opportunity to be a part of something, lay the foundation for something. We've had a really successful Pee Wee program that's really fed into our 7th, 8th, and 9th grade classes. That's a really big group for us. We've got 41 lockers in our junior high locker room, and every one of them's filled up. So we're really excited about that. And so my first thing I knew we had to do was we had to get our kids out. Those ones that were maybe on the fence, that maybe were unsure about football, it's selling to them the experience. I don't go to them and tell them, hey, come out and you can score 6 touchdowns. It's, hey, come out and be a part of a community inside what is our greater community, and to just be a part of a team, and to get to experience some of that what I call controlled adversity that you get in football that maybe you don't get anywhere else. So that's kind of been step one, was getting everybody on board, getting people out, and we've really been successful in that. We've got a lot of new faces, some that have maybe never played before at the younger levels, and then at our varsity level, we've got some that are maybe coming back into the program that maybe have played in the past and maybe skipped a year. So we're really excited about some of those guys, and I'm really pumped moving forward.
So. Tell me about some guys on your roster, some guys that you're going to be leaning on for leadership, or some guys that you think will maybe make a big impact on your team that maybe people don't know about yet.
Well, I'll start with our senior class. That was obviously one of my first groups I got to experience here. They were freshmen when I took the job here as defense coordinator, and that group's really special to me. Ro Waymack, senior inside linebacker. He'll be sitting, right there beside other senior inside linebacker Thomas Preeby. Those 2 guys are really 2 guys that we lean on as far as our seniors go. They live, breathe, eat, sleep football. They're I think the type of guys that if they're walking down the hallway, everybody's like, that's a football player. Whereas they might not always be the most vocal guys, but they're the kind that I like, and that you don't really have to tell them what to do anymore. They're on time, they're where they're supposed to be, and they lead by example. You know, they're always giving maximum effort. Those two guys will probably pace our team in tackles. You know, another senior that's back out had an injury last year, Jacob Katz. He'll play some in the quarterback role, some in the receiver spot. Another really great kid that just leads by example. He's not one that you really ever have to say anything to. He's quick to help a teammate out. You know, today we did a little bit of routes on air, and you know, he's essentially coaching the receivers, and that's what you want to see from your seniors. So those three guys, we really just have a great senior class overall. Jackson Rao, 6'5" offensive tackle. Just watching him this morning in the squat rack, he's blowing up. He's finally he's growing into that body. He's starting to look like a college offensive lineman. So between all those guys and his partner at right guard, Tristan Cunningham, you know, I've coached wrestling here in the past, but he's always been on my wrestling squad, just scrappy kid. So no, we've really got a good senior class, new faces in that class, but between all those guys, we're really pumped. And then obviously, one of our biggest playmakers last year, coming back into his junior year, Turner Harbor. He's at camp today, doing a little quarterback work, but he ought to be a really explosive playmaker. He's shot up in the weight room, he's gotten really strong. You know, he's in here throwing up 225 on bench, just, you know, really easily. So he's really he's matured a lot between his sophomore and junior year, and he ought to be our biggest playmaker. And we're looking for a lot of explosive plays from him. So between those seniors and Turner kind of leading the way as our offensive playmaker, I really feel like, you know, we've got some guys that can produce on the field, and we're excited about them.
This year, you guys make the transition from 2A to 3A. You guys were one of the bigger parts of the conference realignment from the smaller schools. So tell me about that transition and what you guys are expecting from that this year.
So, you know, it's kind of been a segue for our program. You know, we were playing in the 3A and above 8-man league for a season, and then we transitioned right into 2A, and you know, with a really good group of guys, had some success. And now the transition just continues into 3A, and I'll tell you, we were in a really competitive 2A conference the past two seasons, you know, between Hazen and Carlisle and even England, and all those guys really come out and competed every single week. So as far as the transition goes, you know, I know we're moving into a conference with really what's kind of unfamiliar water for us. A lot of these teams we haven't played, we've got some road trips. Like, you know, we're going to Salem, you know, we're going to Yobo Summit, you know, so Mountain View. So it's kind of uncharted water for us. I think our guys are looking forward to the challenge, and you know, between those other guys that are a little closer to us, Quitman and Mayflower, I think, you know, we'll kind of see where we stack up, but I think our guys are ready for that transition. And you know, I know a lot of those coaches, you know, they've been really helpful as far as the conference restructuring goes, as far as passing out information. So I think we're in a good place. I think it's probably good for our program, and our guys are excited. You know, our guys never missed a beat. You know, it wasn't we're going up in classification. You know, it wasn't a deal that really discouraged anybody. So we're excited about it. Going to present some new challenges, new faces, people we haven't seen. You know, you kind of get in the flow of seeing somebody a couple times. So it'll be new for us, but we're excited.
You mentioned a lot of the teams that are going to be in your conference this season. Tell me some of the teams that you guys studied in non-conference and then why you guys picked those teams.
So we kept some familiar faces in non-conference. We're playing Bearden, who we've established a little bit of a rapport with. We enjoy playing those guys. They're always really hospitable to us, and the same thing to them. Obviously, keeping Baptist, it's hard not to want to play Baptist prep really in town. I think it's kind of the thing that you kind of want to create with your programs. I think they kind of feel the same way, as you kind of want to have that across town rival, however you want to see it, because it does a lot for your crowds and your program. It just kind of generates a little bit of buzz when you can play somebody that's 10 minutes down the road. You know, and outside of them, we're also playing Smackover again, another team that we've battled with the past 2 years. I think with a combined 2-touchdown loss in 2 games. So, you know, I think maybe 10 points between those 2 games. 2 really close games. They always have some guys that can go. So we're excited to see them again. You know, we went down there last year, lost to them at their place. We're hoping when we see them this year that maybe we can get one back on them. But they're gonna always be a scrappy bunch. We're excited to play them. And then we're scrimmaging another old conference foe in Hazen. So we'll see a lot of familiar faces early in the year, and I think that's good for our kids, just to, as we progress into those teams we've never seen before, to kind of, we kind of know a little bit about these guys we're seeing early on, and I think that'll bode well for us as far as our demeanor and how we approach those games.
I know you're a defensive guy, you said a defensive coordinator here for the last few years, but tell me about your offense and some guys. You mentioned that Chandler Harbour is going to be a guy who's out training to play quarterback right now. So tell me about maybe what your expectation is just for the offense and what you're really expecting from them this season.
So our offensive coordinator, Adam Hargrave, he is, to me, you put him on the board and I love what he does, what he's about, and he and I philosophy kind of lines up, and it's let's find ways to get the ball to our playmakers in space. So we're kind of multiple on offense. We'll be in all sorts of things, anything that you can imagine. We've kind of got a way to do that. Between Turner Harbour at quarterback, he can play a lot of different positions, primarily quarterback. We've had 2 new additions. We have 2 twin brothers that have played basketball here for us, Joshua and Jacob Martin. They're going to be able to play in the slot, and they're really dynamic basketball players, the type that, go to the rim, finish hard at the rim. Really excited to see what they do with the football in their hand. They've really enjoyed their first experience into playing the sport. They played a little bit when they were younger, but, for us, our philosophy is that just find ways to create mismatches. I'm an old offensive lineman, to make the job of our offensive lineman easier. Anything that we can do to lighten the box, to spread the ball around, to get into space to those guys. Another guy that's playing receiver for us that's, is 4.5 speed is Finn Kirkup. He's another guy that you just want to find a way. It doesn't matter. However you can get the ball to him in space, that's kind of what we try to do. So I'm excited about those tools that we have at our disposal on offense, and I think everybody kind of understands that it might look different each play, but we're going to find ways to get you the ball. So that's kind of how we approach offense, and with those guys, I feel really, really good about the things that they might do.
Defense, you're obviously more familiar with that unit and some of the guys on that side of the ball. So tell me a bit about the defense and what you guys have tried to do with that group. You've been here, you've been able to implement what you want on defense, and now as head coach, you really are going to be able to do what you want on defense.
So I come from a bloodline of coaches that were always defensive oriented, and where the heartbeat, the pulse, the identity of our team is our defense, and I've always found myself in positions and in different stops along the way with defenses that every now and then we'll have that big 300-pound defensive lineman that can really anchor it down. But for the most part, it's always been maybe undersized kids that you've got to find creative ways and really in the way that you approach that side of the ball. And for us, it's run the ball, play fast, play hard, play physical. If you do those things, a lot of it takes care of itself. And, that starts with like our conditioning. We'll do pursuit drills at the end of practice. Just, when you're tired and you're ready to go, well, that's when we got to replicate when we've got to go on Friday nights. So we pride ourselves in 11 hats flying to the football. I know that's really coach speak. That's what everybody says, but we really try to engrave that into our kids. Whereas we might lack a little bit, in the front 7 as far as size. You can make up for some of that with how aggressively you fly to the football. Are you trying to create turnovers? So I think those guys, and a lot of those guys I mentioned in that senior class, most of them started as sophomores. So I think they kind of embrace that identity. That's kind of part of who they are in their senior leadership. I think they're going to kind of demand that of their peers of, hey, this is how we have to get it done. And they've had some success, as sophomores and even at times as juniors in various situations of, hey, this works. It's just, getting everybody on board and kind of demanding that as the expectation of, I guess it goes, if they don't score, they don't win. And that's kind of got to be the way we think is we fly to the football, we play fast, we play with passion, we're physical at the point of attack, then good things happen to us. So that's kind of where we are on it. It's just all 11 hats, flying to the football, using creative ways to do that where, we might not be able to anchor down in a 3 technique, but, there's things that we can do with our slightly undersized guys that might have a step on an offensive lineman to kind of create those plays for us. So we're excited about that, and I think our guys embrace that as our identity.
So tell me about your relationship with this senior class. You said that they were one of the first classes that you kind of dealt with here at Episcopal. So tell me about your relationship with them, and just tell me about what the relationships are like here at Episcopal in general.
Well, that's, I shared that at the very beginning. It's always felt like a tight-knit community, and this senior class is no different in that. They're very close. If you walk into one of our workouts, you would think they were all siblings. It's kind of that type of. They've been around each other so long. A lot of them are what we call lifers here that have been here at Episcopal now from pre-K all the way through. So there's this really tight bond, and as a coach, that makes a lot of your job easier. A lot of times you spend on that team building, and obviously we have to do those things, and we'll continue to do those things. But when you have a group like this that really embraces each other, is really close with one another, cares about each other, and holds each other accountable, I think that's another part of it that's sometimes overlooked. You can have great camaraderie, but sometimes you have that fear of conflict, and I don't think our guys have that. I think they're willing to hold each other accountable. They're willing to make sure that their brother's doing the right thing. So this senior class is no exception. They've really embraced that, and they bust their tail every day to do that. So it expands into our broader community, but like I said, it's the same thing here. It's really tight knit. Everybody really cares about one another, lifts each other up, and makes sure that, hey, we're doing the right thing. That culture of accountability, and I think we've really embraced that. And, obviously it's kind of been a transition, but they've been very quick and very apt to do that because that's the kind of people they already are. It's not something I'm having to teach them, because it's just who they are, especially that senior class.
So this school is probably one where some guys like to play basketball, and football, and soccer. So tell me a little bit about how you guys deal with like a kid who is playing multiple different sports. How that might benefit them on the football field. If they're working on their footwork in soccer,
absolutely,
or they're working on their hand-eye coordination with basketball. Just tell me a little bit about how that kind of works together.
So it's always been my philosophy as a coach, especially with a program our size, is that the more sports that you can help us be competitive in, go play them. I want to see us be competitive in soccer. I want to see us be competitive on the basketball field. I want to see us be competitive in tennis, whatever it is, track, wrestling, whatever the sport is. And we offer a wide array of sports. And I think that's one of the perks of being a student here, is that you have the opportunity to do a lot of things. I'm thinking of a kid on my team now he's a wrestler. He plays football. He's tried his hand at soccer. He plays, runs track. It's the opportunity is really there for our students to get to try their hand at a lot of different things. Whereas in certain environments, you don't really get that opportunity. If in a larger setting, you might not get the opportunity to go play football, basketball, track. Right? You can't do all of those things, and here they're really afforded that, and I encourage it. I think the more things that they're involved in, the better they are as an overall athlete. We've got, I've mentioned a couple of the guys that are coming to us from a little bit more of a basketball background. I'm not discouraging them from continuing to do some of those camps in the summer. To me, that just makes a well-rounded athlete. The more that you do, the less specialized you are, I think the better you are overall. So I think it's awesome to have as many multi-sport athletes, and some of our new faces are coming to us from other sports. We've had some kids that were maybe historically really only wanted to play soccer that are coming out and they're giving football a go. So I think it's a two-way street that you continue to support them and encourage them. Hey, I want you to play multiple sports. I know that that's going to benefit you in the long run. So our whole coaching staff here, from top to bottom, all the way up to our athletic director, Michael Marsh, really does a great job of encouraging us and really demanding of the coaches you encourage your athletes to play everything. If you can go out and help our school be competitive, go do that. And I think, it's really paying dividends for us. We've got a lot of multi-sport athletes on our squad and some new faces. So we're excited about that. And I think that'll be, moving forward, a big point of emphasis with our guys is, hey, if you're not involved in something in the springtime, let's get involved in something in the springtime. If you're not involved in something in the wintertime, let's get involved in something in the wintertime. So it's something I've always supported, and I'm really excited that our school gives our kids the opportunity to be involved in so many things.
Last question for you. What would your team have to do this season for you to walk away from it and consider it a success? A
success to me is that, it's just one of those things that can be hard to measure. But do our guys go out and do they play hard? do you turn on the film and do you see those things that we ask? Do you see 11 hats flying to the football? Sometimes you might have 11 hats flying to the football and they might just be better than you on that play. But to me, our success will be measured by, are we out there giving maximum effort? Are our guys playing with passion? Are they flying around? And I think ultimately that's our measure of success. I think that if we can look back and say, our guys went out there, they laid it all out there, and there was no doubt in anyone's mind that our kids gave it everything they had, then that's a success. And I think you hear that from other colleagues, other coaches, and that's the number one compliment you can ever hear from another coach is your guys play hard, and that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what our identity's got to be this year. If we want to have any sort of success at all, it hinges upon that right there. And I've told our guys that, like, if you want to be successful, it is solely dependent upon, do you care? Do you go out there? Do you play hard? And I think, like I said, that senior class really embraces that, and I think they'll be willing to do that. And ultimately, that'll dictate our success. And for me, that's going to be my measure of success this year is, are we a team that other people say, hey, that's why it plays hard? So that's what we're looking forward to. And I think, again, our seniors have really embraced that as their identity. And I'm really excited to see it on the field on Friday nights.
This has been an interview with Coach Cody Fortner here at Episcopal. Coach, is there anything that you want to say about your program before we sign off?
Be great.
All right, I'm Carson Ward with Arkansas Sports Network. You can find Arkansas Sports Network on Facebook and YouTube.
Thanks again for joining us on the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Arkansas Sports Network on YouTube to catch more previews and all the latest updates on your favorite teams.